My name is Shalong. I'm 74 years old, and I want to tell you something tonight about strength. Not the kind of strength the world usually talks about. Not the strength of endurance or toughness or the ability to push through no matter what. I'm talking about a different kind of strength. The kind that lets you be soft when you need to be soft. The kind that lets you bend without breaking. The kind that keeps you grounded when everything around you is chaos. Inner strength. The kind that comes from who you are, not what you can do. And I want to tell you that this strength is not something you're born with or without. It's something you build day by day, habit by habit, choice by choice. It's something I had to learn to build after spending decades living without it. After spending decades believing I was strong when I was really just surviving. And tonight I want to share with you 9 habits that build this inner strength. 9 practices that transformed me from someone who was brittle and reactive to someone who could face life with a quiet steadiness that nothing could shake. The first habit is something that seems counterintuitive but changed everything for me. Take full responsibility for your inner state. Most of us spend our lives believing that our emotional state is determined by what happens to us. Someone says something hurtful, we feel hurt. Something goes wrong, we feel upset. The circumstances dictate how we feel. But this belief puts all the power outside of you. It makes you a victim of whatever happens. And you cannot build inner strength from a position of victimhood. Inner strength comes from understanding that while you can't control what happens, you can control how you respond. You can control the meaning you give to things. You can control whether you let something destroy your peace or whether you meet it with equanimity. This doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you take responsibility for what you do with those feelings. And that responsibility is the foundation of all inner strength. The second habit is about how you talk to yourself. Speak to yourself with respect. If you paid attention to the way you talk to yourself in your own head, you would be horrified. Most of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to anyone else. We criticize, we belittle, we shame, we call ourselves names. We replay our failures and mistakes over and over. And then we wonder why we feel weak, why we feel fragile, why we can't seem to find solid ground within ourselves. Inner strength cannot grow in an environment of constant self-attack. It needs kindness to grow. It needs compassion. It needs you to speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. Not with false praise, not with delusion, but with basic respect, basic dignity, basic kindness. This is a habit, and it can be changed. And when you change it, when you start treating yourself with respect, you create the internal environment where strength can grow. The third habit has to do with discomfort. Learn to sit with discomfort without running. Most of our weakness comes from our inability to tolerate discomfort. We feel anxious and we immediately try to make it go away. We feel sad and we distract ourselves. We feel bored and we reach for stimulation. We feel any kind of negative emotion, and our first instinct is to escape it. But this constant running weakens us. It teaches us that we can't handle discomfort, that discomfort is dangerous, that we need to be protected from it. Inner strength comes from the opposite, from learning that you can feel discomfort and survive, that you can sit with anxiety without dying, that you can be sad and not fall apart, that you can tolerate difficult emotions without needing to escape them. This tolerance is built through practice, through deliberately sitting with discomfort when it arises instead of running, through proving to yourself again and again that you can handle more than you think. If these words are reaching something in you, if you're recognizing habits you want to build, I want you to know that this recognition is powerful. It's the beginning of change. And if this space is offering you something valuable, maybe you'll want to stay close. Return when you need reminding, because building strength is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. And sometimes we need reminders to keep practicing. The fourth habit is about boundaries. Learn to say no without guilt. One of the greatest sources of inner weakness is the inability to say no. When you can't say no, you're constantly overextended, constantly doing things you don't want to do, constantly giving more than you have. And this depletes you. It drains your energy. It makes you resentful. It leaves you with nothing for yourself. Inner strength requires boundaries. It requires the ability to say no to things that aren't right for you, to protect your time, your energy, your peace, not because you're selfish, but because you can't give from an empty well. And every time you say no to something that would deplete you, you're saying yes to yourself. You're protecting your resources. You're building the foundation of strength. The fifth habit is about your body. Take care of your physical foundation. We like to think that inner strength is purely mental or spiritual, but you live in a body. And if that body is neglected, if it's tired, malnourished, sedentary, unwell, your inner strength will suffer. Not because you're weak, but because you're trying to build on a crumbling foundation. Sleep enough, move your body, eat in a way that nourishes you. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. They're the physical foundation on which all inner strength is built. I neglected my body for decades. I thought I didn't have time to take care of it. I was too busy. And then my body broke down, and I had no choice but to pay attention. Don't wait for that. Don't wait until you have no choice. Take care of your body now. It's the vehicle through which you experience everything, and it needs to be strong if you want to be strong. The sixth habit is about relationships. Surround yourself with people who strengthen you. We are deeply influenced by the people around us, their energy, their attitudes, their beliefs. We absorb these things whether we want to or not. And if you're surrounded by people who drain you, who criticize you, who bring out the worst in you, your inner strength will suffer. Not because you're weak, but because environment matters. It takes tremendous energy to stay strong in a weakening environment, and that energy could be better used elsewhere. Choose your relationships wisely, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of self-care. Spend time with people who make you feel like yourself, who support your growth, who strengthen you rather than weaken you. This is not selfishness, this is wisdom. The seventh habit is about acceptance. Accept what you cannot change. So much of our inner weakness comes from fighting against reality, from insisting that things should be different than they are, from raging against circumstances we cannot control. This fighting exhausts us, it depletes us, it keeps us in a constant state of resistance that drains all our strength. Inner strength comes from acceptance, not passive acceptance that gives up, active acceptance that acknowledges what is and then works with it rather than against it. You cannot change the past, you cannot control other people, you cannot determine how things unfold, but you can accept these truths and direct your energy toward what you can actually influence. That acceptance is not weakness, it's the source of all true strength. The eighth habit is about your mind. Cultivate stillness daily. The mind that is always busy, always thinking, always planning, always worrying is a weak mind. Not because activity is bad, but because a mind that cannot be still is a mind that is out of control. It's being driven by every passing thought, every impulse, every fear. Inner strength requires a mind that can be still when stillness is needed, that can quiet itself, that can rest in awareness rather than being constantly caught in thought. This stillness is cultivated through practice, through meditation, through moments of deliberate quiet every day. You don't need hours, you need minutes, but you need them consistently, day after day, building the capacity for stillness, building the strength to be present, building the ability to be master of your own mind rather than its slave. The ninth habit is the one that ties everything together. Act in alignment with your values, even when it's hard. Inner strength ultimately comes from integrity, from knowing who you are and acting accordingly, from having values and living by them, from being the same person in every situation, not changing yourself based on who's watching or what would be convenient. This kind of alignment creates an unshakable foundation, because when you act with integrity, when you're true to yourself, you build self-trust. You build self-respect. You become someone you can count on. And that reliability, that consistency, that trustworthiness to yourself is the deepest source of inner strength there is. These 9 habits transformed my life. They turned me from someone who was constantly knocked off balance by life into someone who could face anything with steadiness. They are not complicated, but they are not easy. They require daily practice, daily choice, daily commitment, and the willingness to keep going even when you don't see immediate results. Before we part tonight, I want to ask you something. Which of these 9 habits do you most need to develop? Which one spoke to you most strongly? Where are you listening from? and what brought you to these words? I ask because naming what you need is the first step toward building it, and because sometimes knowing others are on the same journey makes the journey easier. I'm 74 years old now. I live in a small temple surrounded by silence and trees that have weathered countless storms without breaking. They're flexible, they bend with the wind, but they don't fall. And that's the kind of strength I've learned to build. Not rigid strength that shatters under pressure, but flexible strength that adapts and endures. This strength is available to you too. It's built one habit at a time, one day at a time, one choice at a time. And it starts now, with whatever habit you choose to begin with. The strength you're seeking is not somewhere outside you. It's something you build inside you. And you can start building today.